After midnight rooftop bar, key card, promise on the coaster. The rooftop bar on Whitmore keeps its promises the way a city keeps its secrets, loud enough to hear, quiet enough to deny. After midnight, the music turns into a pulse the building can survive, and the wind negotiates with everyone's collars. I rode the elevator up with my phone face down in my palm like a coin I wasn't ready to spend, and put it in my left pocket, the pocket I use for things that are supposed to make it home. The doors opened to glass and black sky, and the bartender slid a coaster toward me the way a referee slides a rule across a table. No speeches, just the shape of one. Back home, Eli had said, "Can we talk tomorrow?" in the voice that means please stay now. Our couch is good at staging trials. I left before either of us could swear anything we'd resent by morning. Halfway down the stairs, my screen lit with a message from N. Noah and my contacts. N in the way I label hazards to make them smaller. Come up. Just talk. Roofs are specialists in forgiveness nobody has to live with when the sun shows up. Late for you, Noah said when I reached the railing. He was already there, jacket open, tie loosened, the posture of a man who knows where to stand when heat needs someone to hold its coat. He smiled the way you put a hand on a door to see if it's locked. You always did escalate with an elevator. Escalate's a verb that enjoys itself too much, I said. Tonight I'd like the dull verbs, stand, breathe, decide. I booked a room, he said, showing me a keycard sleeve with a number written in a font that wanted to be trusted. He didn't offer it. He set it on the coaster, and the wind turned the sleeve into a small moral question. We could not use it, he added, eyes skimming my mouth, and then away in a gesture I'd learned to respect and mistrust in equal measure. But doors help men tell the truth on purpose. My name is Julian. By day I fix other people's paragraphs. By night I try not to turn my own into weapons. Eli and I have a code that works when we remember it. T means come here, you awake. Means I'm scared. Tomorrow means not yet, but don't go far. Noah had re-entered orbit 2 months ago wearing shirts with small, precise rebellions in the stitching. He didn't ask for anything. That was how I started bringing him everything. The wind threaded its fingers through the edge of Noah's collar, and he let it. He was close enough to register as weather. He touched the rim of his glass with one finger and then touched my wrist with that same finger as if comparing temperatures. He didn't apologize for either. 3 words, he said, nodding at the coaster. Why are you here? 3 words is cruel, I said. That's why they work. He held out the bar's pen, the kind hotels buy by the thousands so that the small lies look consistent. Write it, or the wind will. I wrote proud at breakfast. Beneath it, smaller like a fuse I might or might not light, I wrote touch before arguing. Noah read the words and didn't exhale for a count of 2 heartbeats. The song under us decided to be helpful. He leaned in, his mouth very close, heat arriving before he did. He didn't kiss me. He traced my lower lip with his thumb, slow, a careful trespass whose map he knew by memory, not by right. You always taste like restraint, he murmured, and then almost kind, and like the part of restraint that begs to be proved wrong. His hand found the back of my neck the way men's hands do when they remember they have permission. My body answered like a courtroom that had already decided and was waiting for the paperwork. Our mouths met, not a collision but a decision, soft pressure that learned how to stay. He tasted like lime, and the portion of rain the city keeps for special occasions. When I slid my fingers beneath his jacket and found the heat along his spine, he made a sound no court would admit into evidence, but every jury would understand. We didn't rush. We let the kiss become a language with a grammar we already knew: open, ask, stay. His mouth found the place at my jaw that rewrites the rest of the night. Mine found the hollow below his ear where regret loses its vocabulary. When his palm settled at my hip and pulled, slow, bodies aligning, the world did that thing where the skyline takes a step back and makes room. "Tell me no," he said into my mouth, "because he's cruel where it's kind and kind where it's cruel." "I don't like that word," I said, honest in the way that makes mourning difficult. "Then tell me later," he said, kissing the awkward part of my honesty and improving it. We kissed like men who have practiced remorse and grew bored with pretending remorse and hunger are the same. Heat taught us etiquette. Hands confirmed attendance. I pressed him back against the glass windbreak, and he took the message with the elegance he uses when he wants me to believe it was my idea. The wind audited our behavior and found it procedural. His fingers slid under my shirt and paused at my ribs, flat a moment, just listening as if my heart owed an explanation. We pulled apart because oxygen had lawyers. He rested his forehead against mine and smiled without using his mouth. "We could go downstairs," he said, quiet. "We could stand too close in an elevator and not touch until the city forgives us for wanting to. We could keep the room honest." "I'm tired of being clever," I said. "Clever's a night shift," he said. "Decent is a morning one." "Eli thinks tomorrow can fix what today bought on credit." "Does he want to?" Noah asked. "Not accusation, inventory." "Sometimes," I said, "often enough to keep the lease." Noah picked up the keycard sleeve and balanced it on 2 fingers like a thin coin trick. He set it down again. "We already cheated," he said. "We cheated when we started narrating each other before we narrated ourselves at home." I nodded because the wind had made lying indecent. "We could fail differently," I said. "We could," he said. And this time he kissed me like a man gives back what he shouldn't have taken, slow, grateful, exact. The bartender dropped a book of matches on the coaster like a footnote. The card stock was white on the back, empty, asking. Noah's pen waited near my fingers like a good bad idea. He watched me without moving anything but his breath. I wrote "Turn toward your name." He smiled with his eyes. He put the matchbook in my left pocket with ceremonial slowness. Hand there a second longer than necessary, heat making arguments grammar can't parse. We didn't go downstairs. We stood with the key between us until the wind made a choice and took it a few inches toward Noah. He picked it up and put it in his jacket like a lesson he wasn't done learning. We kissed once more, brief, polite. The kind a hotel doesn't have to pretend it didn't see. He stepped back the smallest moral distance possible and still pass inspection. "Text me a weather report in the morning," he said. "Tell me if the kettle beat the reasons." "It usually does," I said, "when we let it." We left separately because we weren't cowards. We were tired. The elevator returned me to a lobby that had decided to forgive everyone who asked nicely. The night air made no allegation. I walked home practicing small sentences I could say without weapons. Eli sat on the kitchen floor with his back against the fridge, sleeves pushed to his elbows, one ankle crossed over the other, the posture manuals use when they draw people who are about to fix things. He didn't say, "Where were you?" He turned his head a little toward the spot beside him. I took it. "Do you want to be asked?" he said, voice even, not performing mercy, offering it. "Please," I said. "Prompts are the scaffolding of my better self." "Are you lonely?" he asked. "Some nights," I said. "Not here. Not when you ask first. Not when the kettle outruns the reasons." I took his wrist and placed his hand on my forearm the way he does to check whether I'm inventing weather. His thumb traced once and found everything it needed. "I feel useful," he said. "I want to be wanted before I'm useful." "Tonight's procedure," I said. "Touch first, argue second, report later." The kettle clicked like a passport stamp in a country that still believes in stamps. We poured water over mint, and called it dinner because names are cheaper than regret. I set the coaster on the fridge under a lemon-shaped magnet so that Proud at Breakfast faced the room. Eli read it and didn't smile so much as become one. "I don't want a transcript," he said. "I want us to decide whether we're the kind of men who lose on purpose." "I want to fail differently," I said. "Beginner's luck would be nice." We made a rule that wasn't noble. When prosecution tried to wear a bathrobe, one of us would say rooftop bar and the other would put the kettle on while the first put his hands where history could find them. We agreed to 5 words when 5 were enough. We agreed to stop at the shoulder, not the ditch. Days did what days do when you're trying to be an amateur human with professional consistency. The matchbook in my pocket learned the shape of my left hand. Paper learns its carriers. On the late bus, I wrote messages to no one that began "I didn't ask," because I thought that counted as kindness and ended "May your breakfast go right." I didn't send them. The not sending felt like a skill borrowed from glass and wind and elevators that keep confidences. A week later, when afternoon tried to be a test, I walked past the hotel and bought nothing. I left a bottle of water near the host stand with a note, "For whoever is waiting for a sister." The host nodded like a bridge that had held before and would hold again. On the way home, I slipped another coaster into my pocket and wrote "Ask" before summarizing me across the blank side. I did not light anything. That night the lemon watched the coaster behave. We ate toast like it had been newly invented. We failed and then failed differently and then failed in ways that didn't require anyone to stand at a railing pretending to know which door would save them. The room did not demand a verdict. The morning figured out its job. And when we said tomorrow, it meant only what we let it mean.